So when I posted that I'm going to Mato Tipila, many people wanted to join, and then that's how I met with one Anna who had been visiting Mato Tipila every year actually. So there is a group of people who goes to Mato Tipila every year, spending there at least for 3 to 4 nights. They have similar kind of thing pilgrimage for the native immigrants. They call it as a vision quest. So we actually met one person who had actually come there, and it might be quite surprising, and it might be quite a revelation for the people that Mata Tipila is not the only energy space in that area. When he went with the volunteers to the Mata Tipila during the COVID situation, because there were no people over there. There, like I mentioned earlier, that he let people meditate in the presence of the Mata Tipila. But at the same time, he clearly mentions that he blocked the possibilities of the Mata Tipila. Because he said that people who does the process of the Vishuddhi, they tend to become freak.
Yeah. Okay, Anna, Ram Gurung Anna, I'm so excited for this conversation. You know, on my social media feed, you were one of the first people who went to Mato Tipila. I mean, Sadhguru obviously put a lot of content, but I didn't have anybody who actually went there. So, how was your experience of the place?
Namaskaram everyone, first of all. So thank you, Priyanka, for inviting me. Basically, regarding Mata Tipila, yeah, of course, we all, almost everyone, I think there might be an exception, but almost all of us learned about Mata Tipila from Sadhguru himself. And when I came for the Lingavari consecration here in the US and everything, that the first place to visit was one of the first place to visit was the Mata Tipila, and it was a quite difficult for me because I just moved in here and then I had not traveled enough. I didn't knew how the booking, driving, and everything works here because US is not like in India or any other country where there is a lot of public transportation. So yeah, mostly you have to depend on your own self-driving. So I asked a lot of people that I want to go to Mata Tipila, and during the Lingavairu consecration, I met few of the meditators. That's how we end up arranging the trip to Mata Tipila. But when I requested, because I've got quite a few of the followers on Instagram and YouTube. So when I posted that I'm going to Mata Tipila, many people wanted to join, and then that's how I met with one Anna who had been visiting Mato Tipila every year actually. So there is a group of people who goes to Mato Tipila every year, spending there at least for 3 to 4 nights. Because Sadhguru had said so. So that's how we also end up there, and we are 8 people. So we're a two vehicle, and we're 8 people. Yeah, it's a quite a powerful place. Sadhguru says that it's a natural structure, and then they also say that it's lava, millions of years before, the lava has actually come out from the earth, and then how it condensed, and over time it started breaking off. So the structure that it was millions of years back, it wasn't quite different than right now. And somehow the octagonal shapes has come up because it started breaking off by itself. And it's quite interesting that only the western side has broken off, and then the structure has been quite different and everything. So it's a very, you can say a very powerful space. As Sadhguru says, he says that it is one of the very powerful spaces in in North America. So
are there a lot of the Native American things around it?
Actually, what you are referring, like, might be asking that, like, whether it is actively around the Native American people, and is it being used by people for the pilgrimage purposes and everything?
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
100%. Because one of the thing is like, and it might be quite surprising or uncanny for the people from India that, if you go to some of the temples, you'll see a trees. For example, like I've seen this in many places in India also, that if you have certain thing that you want to request as a wish, then they go and then like they will tie something to the tree or a temple. For example, like there's a temple in uh, Uttarakhand, like a Golu Devata. I think you may have heard about it. Like where people go and offer the bells. And
Right.
similarly,
Yeah.
like in Palani, like there's a one temple where people go and offer cloth and everything. They tie it to the branches of the trees.
Mm.
And Native American culture, at least in that area, is uncanny like a similar, because there like you'll see like there are a whole lot of trees where they come and then they offer these you know tie it along the trees, and they said that like it is during the month of the June that they come and then like they do certain kind of process and they do it. There are like of course like many different things. Like one of the things is like they have similar kind of thing like pilgrimage for the Native Americans. They call it as a vision quest.
Mm.
So we actually met like a one person like who had actually come there, and it might be quite surprising, and it might be quite a revelation for the people that Mato Tipila is not the only energy space in that area. It is actually a part of the energy triangle.
Mm.
So we also didn't knew that. Like on the way coming down from a place called Beer Butte, because
Mm.
that is where like a Sadhguru has also gone. Like we didn't know whether he climbed or not, because like there's a lot of hike in that one. But in the video we saw Sadhguru being in the Beer Butte, because what you actually refer as a Mother Tivila is the Native American name. I think like it's a Lakota Dakota tribes name for the beer lodge. Okay,
Right.
so beer lodge is basically the place for the Mato Tipila in their native language, and then Mato Paha is basically the name for the beer butte. And surprisingly, like there's a third place also known as the uh, uh, Black Elk Mountain. So that is a long hike. So these three actually forms the energy triangle, and wherever you go, like you'll actually see these offerings and everything, especially in the lower part of the Bear Butte, because there's a lot of hike, and in the Black Elk also. So just because like and the United States is so big,
Mm.
and in different places like the cultures are completely different. Like if we just go to the Madhya and then see that okay, this is how the Native Americans are, will be absolutely wrong. So I've traveled across like almost the East Coast, West Coast, and the Washington area, California, and Oregon. The only thing that is missing now is like the New Mexico. That is where I want to visit, because almost Sedona also I visited, and I visited this area, and then mostly of the Wisconsin and other kind of places like yeah, we have visited. But yeah, so these are the three very powerful places. So, but of
Uh,
course, like the I'll just like give you a little bit of premise on this Mato Tipila, like if anybody wants to visit.
mm.
So if you go there, like there's a two parikrama actually. Okay,
Mm.
one is the small parikrama that might be around 3 miles or something. There is another one like a 7 mile is there. Okay, because it's in the US law, like we use
Mm.
miles here, so
Mm.
it's like a 1.6 kilometer per mile. So I was fortunate enough that like I met a few of the meditators. We had actually already been there, and Sadhguru has also done. He said that like two both miles, like a one goes like a very close by. The other one goes from outside, and then you can go spirally inside like this.
So the
Okay.
smallest one is basically just around the entire structure, is it?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Just around, and then quite interestingly, like you can actually, they allow you and go climb that rock also. Like you need a permission, of course, and only during the June month when the Native American tribes, like they all come and then they start doing some processes and everything, their rituals and everything. During that period, like people don't climb or don't allow people to climb because of the reverence, but rest of the time, like they are allowed. And one of the amazing thing is, even if you whether you go for the you can say smaller parikrama or the larger parikrama. For that one, like you can actually go close and then touch the I think like from the northeast side. Northeast side, like you can actually go close and then touch the Mato Tipila, and then you can actually experience the touching experience is completely different, and that is what the Anna actually told us, that like we went, and then everybody, all the meditators who were traveling with us, like we touched the Mato Tipila, and then connect with it. It was a quite interesting and very powerful experience, quite different from how when you are meditating and everything. So yeah, it's a very powerful place, and I've seen like there was one of the meditator with us was quite sensitive to these energies. There are people like outside that, like Sadhguru is the one like who is the most sensitive to these energies, uh, and he is the yogi of the highest caliber. But like he does not express, you know. For example, like there might be a whole lot of people like who go and meditate, but you do not know like what is happening with them. Okay, but there are a few of the yatris with us sometimes, like who just goes into a certain kind of mode, and then they start screaming and all that kind of. So there was one meditator with us, like every time he goes into those kind of states.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
pretty
quite
good.
powerful. And I've also been told that like people usually go and during the full moon nights over there. Okay. Uh, I think like you all know, like when Sadhguru went, like he actually uh, when he was there during the COVID, I think
Yeah.
the yatra, like he said that like it's a very powerful space for the uh, Vishuddhi.
Yeah, we should
But
be
he
checking.
ensured that like the people who was traveling with them should not be able to access the uh, potentiality of that Mato Tipila. So I don't know, like these guys were traveling with Sadhguru, like they had the privilege to meditate in Mato Tipila, but they were supposedly blocked from accessing that because he needed those people to go on a volunteering with him. That's how it is.
Okay, but he has in general encouraged all of us to go. I mean,
Yeah,
especially
but
the Native
there are
Americans.
many things like
Mm.
because I meet a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
Wherever he has said, I wouldn't go into specifics and everything. Wherever Sadhguru has said people to visit and everything, he had actually created a safety lock system by himself already. There are many places like that. Okay, because the human mind is crazy. Like like
Yeah.
where you should go. Like people when he said like you should go, like most of the people won't go, and then where people say like don't go, people want to go there immediately. That is the nature. Okay, because when Sadhguru said that like if you go to Mato Tipila or many other energy spaces, if you do the anti-clockwise parikrama, then you might be exposed to that occult aspects of that place. And when Sadhguru says that, like even similar kind of thing happened during the Manasarovar also. You cannot believe now meditating in the brahmamuhurat, I mean Manasarovar is nearly impossible now because whoever is coming to Kailash, like because Sadhguru is so popular, and Sadhguru has said that like during the Brahma Muhurta around 2:30, something is happening in Manasarovar. So everybody is waking up, and then everybody is going there and making noises. They do not know like how to be in that space. So all that kind of stuff
You
is
mean even
also like it's a
non-meditators are
good
doing
thing that
that?
like people know. Yeah.
Even
To go to
non-meditators are going and doing that, is it, at Manasarovar?
pardon again.
Even non-meditators are aware of
Yes,
Sadhguru's
yeah,
words and they
yeah.
are
For example, now
okay.
like because the Kailash was open like last year or this year, 2025,
Mm,
because it was open for the Indian passport holders for the first
mm,
time after 2019. And whenever, let's say, like I'm not meditator, but I want to go to Kailash, let's say.
mm,
And when you want to go to the Kailash, like I wouldn't go by this, but
mm,
generally I've found that like Indian people make broadcast. Okay,
mm,
they say that like
mm,
okay, I'm going to Kailash. Now, when you say like I'm going to Kailash, now what is going to happen is uh, now Isha is so popular that like one or two people
mm,
are either the Isha meditators or certainly has watched Sadhguru's videos.
mm,
Okay. So they will say that like Anna, like if you are going to Kailash, like you should be awake this time. You will be able to see these things coming or what is happening and everything. So because of all that reason, like when you wake up, like we thought that it's super cold, okay, in the
mm,
night, and then we have got our own thermocol sheets to
mm,
sit, and then we ask everybody to bring their own blankets, small blankets, so that like the weather is not going to impact you.
mm.
And we go and then like meditating, like people are using the torchlight, they are chatting all the time, like making the live call to their family members, and that
Oh
is the
my
kind of the
gosh.
pilgrimage that is happening. And
Mm,
you have to run away from one place to another, but you cannot avoid because there are hundreds and hundreds of people there. So
mm. So this Mato Tipila, you are saying these meditators go every year. What do they
correct, okay.
go there and do? Like, do we just do our practices, or do they do like the Guru Puja? Or like, is there anything prescribed?
Yeah,
Because for
yes, correct.
Vishuddhi
So
chakra, I don't remember if Sadhguru has actually given anything.
yeah, it's a Vishuddhi chakra yoga. Yeah.
Yeah, but so in terms of practice or sadhana, that we would go there and
Yeah,
do,
so that is what I just told you. So
or we can do the
uh,
parikrama and we can touch it. That's
yeah, so yeah, touch it, and then like I'll go into a little bit specific so that like if people can understand and everything. As we know that like the processes that Sadhguru has given, most of the practices are only to work with the Agna chakra and then the Anahata chakra.
mm,
Okay, these are the only two that Sadhguru like wants it. And then during the advanced program, like he clearly mentions that like we try to hit the sastra.
mm,
Okay, so these are the three fundamental things that Sadhguru talks about, and among the seven, like he says that like don't work on the Muladhara, Swadhisthana, and then the Manipuraka. Okay, these are the things like he does not give the process, and of course he says like a Vishuddhi is the most difficult thing to master. So, and he also mentions that like during the Dhyanalinga consecration also, it was something that like nobody was able to actually master, and that was the uh, like a big challenge. That's the reason like he went from like a plant A to B to C to D and so many different plants, and eventually he found a yogi
mm,
with whom like he was able to do finally the prana pratishtha for the Vishuddhi to lock to the Dhyanalinga. And coming to this one, like just like I mentioned, when just like I said, like when he went with the volunteers to the Mato Tipila during the COVID
mm,
situation, because there were no people over there. There, like I mentioned earlier, that he let people meditate in the presence of the Mata Tipila. But at the same time, like he clearly mentions that he blocked the possibilities of the Mata Tipila.
mm,
Because he said that like people who does the process of the Vishuddhi,
mm,
they tend to become freak
yeah.
uh, from the perspective of the society. They are not freaks, but they think that like they are freaks and everything.
Mm,
For example, like I wouldn't go into that kind of specifics because like this is a public podcast and it has to go out. But like people who have never eaten vegetarian food in their entire life, they will see like a person coming from like from some culture, and they don't even eat cooked food or anything. They just eat like a raw food and everything. Then like they might sound like, okay, like this guy is a very odd guy out, isn't it? Yes, they look like a very weird and everything. So Sadhguru says that like a person who goes into the exploring this realm of like a Vishuddhi chakra, uh, they once they start doing and activating that one, like they won't be able to handle the social situation. So that's why like, and Sadhguru is in that mode. We do not know like will we ever be able to see Sadhguru in that mode, because every year he goes on adding more and more volunteering activities.
Yeah. And also, I'm not sure for the large mass associated with Isha, they really need to, because it just sounds cool and it's a little bit exciting for them. But if you really be serious and think about it a lot, or even me, I don't want any freaky things to happen. I'm happy being on a calm spiritual path where you're just progressing. Because I don't want like theatrics actually, because if you understand,
Correct, correct. Yeah. If you are living a social life and everything, then
no, not just social. I mean, I understand the spiritual path, but if it is not needed to have, for example, occult or some very freaky experiences,
no,
without that, if I'm able to
I'll
progress.
tell you the thing. So Sadhguru clearly mentions like if any people who have watched the Sadhguru exclusive and everything, Sadhguru says that like there are two kind of occults. Okay, one kind of occult that people get scared of, and which has a very bad press and everything. Even like very heavily being done in rural areas, almost everywhere in the world. Okay, is basically the Sadhguru says is the occult of the Muladhara chakra. Okay,
Okay.
it has nothing to do with the Vishuddhi. So Vishuddhi, what it says is the occult of the Shiva. Okay, so there are two types of occult. One is the occult of the Muladhara, and there's the occult of the Vishuddhi. So he says that Vishuddhi chakra has to be activated only by the people like who wants to explore, mystical dimensions. Not only that, but also have a mastery over, initiations, consecrations, and wants to make their presence very powerful. Okay, so basically, like a person who has a mastery of the Vishuddhi will be like Sadhguru himself. So without he says that like without having a master of the Vishuddhi, you cannot do consecrations or initiations. He says that. No. Yeah.
I guess, okay, I mean, but still, my point is that while
Yeah.
it sounds exciting, for most people, it's probably not applicable, no? Because
Correct,
we've
correct,
reached
correct,
a
correct.
stage
100%. Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Great, thank you. That was a lot of very nice, insightful thing about Mato Tipila.
Yeah.